Here's another great fighter, folks, on our team. I'm talking about Chip Roy. He is one of the great ones. I put him right up there with Clay Higgins and Matt Gates and Jim Jordan and Comer and the people, John Kennedy, the people that actually bring the fire every day. Ted Cruz, there's a whole list of them. Byron Donaldson, one of the new ones, he's great as well, including the women. We've got several firecracker women that are just as good as the men at bringing the fire and exposing what's really going on, telling the truth so the American public can hear it. That's one of the reasons I do listen to these Senate hearings all the time. It's one of the things I find myself doing. Just I don't plan on doing it. It just works that way. I guess it's something I enjoy because that's where the skin and bones of what's really going on in the Congress is actually at. And on this video here, Chip Roy just lets them have it, lets them know why things are going on the way they're going on. He's talking about the debt ceiling. He's talking about the way the American public is being robbed of their freedoms. He just goes on and says some things that are just this is the kind of things Democrats do not want to hear. And I'm just glad he brings it to the table, brings the fire. And so I figured I'd bring it to you. Now this clip is very long; it's like 27 minutes long, and I won't do that to you folks. But I will go ahead and leave a link in the description below, so you can go find this if you like at the link in the description below, or you can go over to Forbes. It's over there as well. That's one of the places I find my C-SPAN clips of congressional hearings and things of that nature. Now let's go ahead and get into it. There's some other things going on in the news today. I'll probably be talking about them tomorrow. They're trying to get rid of Ken Paxton, our Attorney General here in Texas, for a couple of reasons. But like I said, I'll keep you in wait on that one. Let's go ahead and get into the video.
You have to take some issue with some of the 1-minute speeches that my colleagues on the other side of the aisle were engaging in about an hour ago. I saw that the Democrat majority leader was on the floor with a chart, and that chart said, House Republicans are running out of town to cause an economic meltdown. Sounds ominous. Sounds terrible and threatening, and all sorts of calamities going to ensue. Where are Senate Democrats? Where is Chuck Schumer? They've been MIA this entire week, not even in town, but hell, they've been MIA all year, not doing a thing in the Senate, except for being the personnel office for the administration. That's all they do. They run through nominations, and heck, they're not even that good at that. So what do? They run out of town. Where was the president last week? Japan. You see this ominous threat of a looming debt ceiling date, an X date as it's being referred to, of June 1, is all manufactured crisis and theater. We know that. Americans know that. Secretary Yellen wants to figure out how we need to deal with whatever interest payments need to be paid in June. She can prioritize those payments. She can make decisions to figure out how to carry this country forward. She can walk on down here, brief us, meet with us long before the June 7th date she's currently planning to come down to talk to us, and have a conversation about, I don't know, how about taking those COVID dollars back that are sitting there unobligated to the tune of $50 billion? How about taking the IRS dollars back that are there to expand the Internal Revenue Service, an IRS which, by the way, targets the poor and minorities 3 to 5 times more than the non-poor?
And these are the things that are actually in Kevin McCarthy's bill, the one that passed through the House. And Joe Biden and the Senate obviously don't want to look at it, don't want to vote on it, can't agree to it. So here we are.
And non-minorities. That's the truth. Why don't they take that $80 billion, combine it with the COVID money, turn it into dollars right now that you can go pay loans with? Voila, no problem. But see, my Democratic colleagues won't do that, because my Democratic colleagues prefer the fear created with a manufactured crisis. They prefer to use that crisis, as Rahm Emanuel said, never let a crisis go to waste. They prefer to manufacture a crisis to jack up more debt on our children and grandchildren to the tune of $4 trillion. That's what they want more than anything on earth, is to spend more money to increase the power of government, to undermine our freedoms, to destroy the American way of life, and they are doing it right now.
I told you he was bringing the fire. He is laying it down, and this is the absolute truth. Pay attention, folks. This is what's really going on in our country, and I'm glad he has got the balls and the integrity and the want to expose all this information. Share this video if you have a tendency to share videos at any time. This is a good one. Everybody needs to hear this, even your Democrat friends. Send them a message. Send them this on a link. Tell them it's something they need to hear.
That's what's happening. The fact is, we had some of my Democratic colleagues went to the floor, and one individual said, quote, "Make no mistake, they," meaning Republicans, "have no plan." Well, I'm sorry. We passed a bill in April. We actually passed a bill off of the floor of the House that raises the debt ceiling $1.5 trillion, provides an actual path to fiscal responsibility, and we did that in April. Oh, but see, we have no plan. We got to have this manufactured crisis. We had another quote. President Biden already lowered the deficit by $1.7 trillion. They say his budget would cut the deficit by another $3 trillion by eliminating wasteful spending on big oil and pharma, we're told. But it is in fact our Democratic colleagues who prefer to maintain their massive subsidies for the elites and the wealthy in their so-called Inflation Reduction Act just last year.
Trying to claw
My
back
friend
that
from New
money.
York, Ms. Ocasio-Cortez, said, quote, "I ask you, think about the last time a person has said in this country that the government does too much for them. When was the last time anyone has heard or seen that?" I'll say it. I'll say it right here. I don't want the government doing most of the things that the government is doing to interfere with the ability of the American people to carry out their lives. Federal, state, and local. When was the last time you had a bureaucrat show up and you said, "Oh joy, thank you. I'm really glad there's a bureaucrat here"? When was the last time you were thankful for $32 trillion in debt, $100,000 almost for every man, woman, and child in America? Anybody thankful for $32 trillion in debt? Anybody? Anybody thankful for a border that's wide open being exploited by cartels while fentanyl comes in and kills our children? Everybody thankful for that Department of Homeland Security that doesn't actually secure the homeland?
Get them.
Everybody thankful for an FBI that went after Scott Smith and labeled him a domestic terrorist for daring to defend his daughter in a school board meeting because she was assaulted in a bathroom? Anybody thankful for the IRS knocking on your door, auditing the poor and the minorities 3 to 5 times more? People thankful for that? Are you thankful for the EPA or the Department of Interior that sent a man to prison because he had some ponds on his ranch in Montana? We have a government that is weaponized against the American people and is undermining our liberties, and they want more of it. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle want more government. They want more taxes. They want more spending. They want more bureaucrats knocking on your door, like Mark Houck in Philadelphia when he woke up to this door being knocked on by local law enforcement teamed up with federal law enforcement to go carry out a warrant to arrest him because he had defended his son exercising free speech, because he is a pro-life activist in Philadelphia. That is your government at work.
That's sad
The
shit right
fact
there,
is,
folks.
we have a decision to make here. What are we going to do? Are we going to listen to the wailing and gnashing of teeth of our colleagues on the other side of the aisle, projecting a manufactured crisis to exploit fear to try to
There it is.
raise our debt limit, a credit card limit, by $4 trillion? I want to be very clear. And I want to be clear to my colleagues on this side of the aisle. Anybody making a deal right now? $4 trillion? Are you out of your frigging mind?
That's right.
When I came to this town as a lawyer on the Senate Judiciary Committee, the entire debt was $6 trillion. And what are we doing? We're having a conversation, blowing my mind, a conversation about raising our debt another $4 trillion. Why? So we can continue to fund the very bureaucrats that at least my colleagues on this side of the aisle campaign against. Well, guess what? You have a power of the purse for a reason. You should use it. Federalist 58, James Madison, what did he say? He said that the power of the purse granted to the people's house was the most powerful tool you can give against the tyranny of the executive branch.
That's right.
My colleagues on this side of the
Use
aisle
it.
all too often like to go around and campaign against all of the things that the bureaucracy is doing or that my colleagues on the other side of the aisle support. But when it comes down to game time, and it's game time right now, when it comes down to game time, are we going to use the power of the purse to defend the American people against the onslaught of the tyranny of the executive branch? Or are we going to tuck tail, take the first exit ramp off, and walk away? Because what I'm hearing right now, being debated, being negotiated, is taking the first exit ramp off to cut a deal. Because that's what we do in this town.
That's exactly
Cut a
what
deal.
they do every
But that
time.
deal is not a deal for our kids and our grandkids.
That's right.
We passed a responsible bill in April. My message to my Republican colleagues is hold the line.
That's right.
My message to my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, quit lying to the American people, quit advancing this fraud of a manufactured crisis, stop telling people that you can just continue to spend money we don't have, stop lying to them that there's more tax revenue to go get when we're at the highest level of tax revenue ever in our history, matched only two other times, World War II and in 2000 at the end of the dot-com explosion. Almost 20% of our GDP we are taking in by taxes. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle hide behind that, and they refuse to acknowledge that this government is too big, too burdensome, too weaponized against the American people.
It's about 27 minutes long, folks. I'll give you about the first 8 or 9 minutes of it. It is a Facebook link where I did find this. I do a little bit of my cruising around to find some of these articles or some of these videos and things over on Facebook. Like I listen to or I watch Town Hall and several people over on Facebook as well. Benny Johnson. I know that's consorting with the enemy, but I try to go everywhere I can to try to find as many different directions to come up with the right piece of information that I want to bring y'all each and every day. It is what it is. Like, subscribe, and share, Devoted Patriots, and tell me what you think in the comment section about Chip Roy. I like him. He's from Texas. He is one of the few good ones. We got some rhinos here in Texas right now trying to kick Ken Paxton out of his seat as Attorney General for trying to suspend the Speaker of the House in Texas for being drunk, and just the other day, and I guess it offended some people. And they've been working against Ken Paxton for a while because he fought against the no ID, and he fought for voter integrity in the state, and actually kept the state of Texas the way it has been. They were actually trying to change the rules here, like they've done in several other states, and Ken Paxton sued and won in every court hearing, and got that squashed. But as of today, or probably Monday, we'll find out if they are actually going to be able to impeach uh, Ken Paxton behind these rhinos. But I will keep you informed. I didn't really want to say too much about it, but truth be known, it's still kind of in waiting. We haven't actually got a final conclusion on that. But one thing about Texas, we have several big cities here, and they're full of Democrats with that are actually rhinos. Uh, they run on a Republican ticket because they know they can't win on a Democrat ticket here. So We've got Republicans and rhinos more than anything. Like, subscribe, and share to go to Patriots. Everybody have a great day. Over and out.